New Orleans is a city like no other, a place where culture and creativity and community come together in ways that inspire the world. From the vibrant murals of the young artist movement to the soulful melodies nurtured at the Ellis Marcellus Center for Music and the rich legacy of excellence at St. Augustine High School, this city is alive with stories that deserve to be told. Welcome to Lagniappe Stories, a podcast and video series that goes beyond the headlines to shine a light on the people and organizations making a difference in the Crescent City.
We are Young Artist Movement. This is Guardians of the Garden. Woo!
I'm Arthur Hunter. I am a former criminal court judge here in New Orleans. Grew up in New Orleans, went to St. Augustine High School, played football. Went to the University of Michigan, played football until I blew out my knee. Came back to New Orleans, went to Loyola undergrad. And after I graduated from Loyola undergrad, I joined the New Orleans Police Department. And also went to law school and graduated from law school while being on the New Orleans Police Department. I was an attorney for 11 years, and I was a criminal court judge for 23 years. I retired a few years ago.
And I'm Ron Bechet, and I am a visual artist and also a professor at Xavier University in New Orleans. And I make art and also teach art. And I grew up in New Orleans as well, lifelong, except for going off to graduate school. And I also played football for a year in college. I went to Brother Martin High School.
That did it.
That did it.
And there's our relationship now, right? We had a friendship for a long time now.
Yeah. And then I went off from Brother Martin High School to go play football at Mississippi State.
Okay.
And I lasted there for a year until they told me that I needed to change my major so that I can continue to come to practice. Right. And so I left and came back to New Orleans and went to the University of New Orleans, where I finished my undergraduate degree, and then I went to graduate school at Yale University and got an MFA there. And after a while, got married, had a son, decided I was painting Louisiana paintings and landscapes in the Northeast and needed to come home. Because it wasn't making any sense there. So I've been here ever since then.
Yeah. Well, you know, Ron, I guess everybody wants to know, how did YAM start? How did it begin?
How did YAM start?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, if you remember, we had a 2-hour lunch at Lil Dizzy's.
Yeah.
Red beans and rice and fried chicken. And we talked about what I saw in criminal court, in which I had young kids who came before me and had a talent of art. Yeah. And on a couple of occasions, if I thought a kid could draw, I would ask him to draw something, give him a legal pad and a pencil, and that kid would, while he's handcuffed, draw something. And if you remember, I would then send it over to you.
Right.
Say,
exactly.
Ron, this is, you know, we need to work with this kid, you know. And so basically, you know, we were talking about what we can do for our young people here in New Orleans. Yeah. And you know, and I came up with the idea. I said, Ron, we got to paint the wall. And the wall was that wall outside of, at that time, you know, OPP, the Orleans Parish Prison, which is now the Orleans Justice Center. Paint that wall and get the kids to do it. Yeah. You know. And the concept was, I'd rather have kids painting outside the wall than from inside the wall. Right. And so, you know, we came up with, you know, a program, you know, and you talked about also, you know, how not only are we going to teach them skills of art, but we're also going to teach them the business of art as well, you know. And that's why our kids get paid, you know, minimum $15 an hour.
Right. Yeah, and it's so funny because we met, I can't even remember where it was that we met initially.
Right.
But it was at some art function.
Yeah, I believe it was. Yeah,
And
it could have been at Xavier. I think it was at Xavier.
Yeah.
I think it was at Xavier.
And we started talking about, your dilemma and my dilemma, because same thing with the young people here, particularly the men, that we were losing them.
Yeah.
And that they weren't coming to school. They weren't doing those things that we knew that they could do.
Right.
And I thought that, it would be great. And you said, let's go have lunch and talk about it. And so we ended up at Little Dizzy's and had a great lunch, a 2-hour lunch or more,
Right.
talking about what we could do. And I remember too with YAM, actually the students came up with YAM.
That's correct.
And they literally were working with us, and we had, it began working with Keith Duncan as the first artist in residence, and we had a long time trying to gather up young people initially to get to work on and the first project that we did was with the pool.
Was the pool at Lehman Park.
Right, at Lehman Park.
I was able to go to talk with Vic Richards, who was the director of NORD at the time. And Vic and I were in high school together. And Vic said, go do it.
Yeah.
And we did it.
Right, that's New Orleans. I mean,
Yeah, that's it.
And Keith was on it, and then we had some funding through a group that we were all working with the Welcome Table.
Right, I remember, yes.
Yeah, and so we had a little bit of money that we could use for that. And so we paid, the first thing was always pay the students.
Right.
We paid the young people who were involved in it. And they came up with the whole idea about working with Keith Duncan, and then Keith came up with, what does the community want to see on the walls? And so the students and gathered up the people in the neighborhood. My wife Troy helped them to kind of come in together around circles, around using her system of working in circles through restorative justice and restorative approaches. And so we had something with our biggest problem was, okay, now once we finished this mural, we had a name, we had students, we had all this going on. So we went around to a bunch of the arts organizations in the city. And I think our plan was to have them all work together to support this organization. This young group of muralists that had called themselves YAM.
Yeah, the Young Artist Movement.
Young Artist Movement, right.
Yeah.
And that's what they decided.
Yeah.
And I remember one time too, you even had I forget his name right now, the banker. Who came over and talked to the students.
Greg Rattler. I think it was Greg Rattler.
Greg Rattler.
Because what we wanted to do was, again, not just teach them the skills of art, but also the business of art. And that meant having someone to talk to them about, well, once you get your money, how do you spend it? Teaching them financial literacy. I also had Leslie Harris, who's the city councilman now, to talk to them about, patent right, copyright, trademark, So again, it's getting about the business of art as well. And letting them know too, that you have a skill and you can get paid for your skill as well. But if you don't know how to protect yourself financially or legally, you can run into some trouble. Because look, what it's all about, and we said this from the beginning, we need to do what we can to maximize the talent and potential that our kids have.
Right, exactly.
And I don't want to see kids standing before a judge, and drawing something while they're handcuffed. And again, that was the concept behind the wall.
Exactly.
We'd rather have our kids painting outside the wall than from inside the wall.
Right. And to catch them before they ended up in front of you.
Yes.
In criminal court. And so that was a big thing I think we were thinking about.
Yeah. And also, even if they got to that point, hopefully we can put them on a path, of showing them, that the talent that you have, you can make some money. You can make some money doing this, and you don't have to do the nonsense.
Right. And we all know, art saves lives. And we're used to New Orleans where the artist is a musician, but we also know that the visual artist is also someone of consequence here in the city, and that what they do, what they make, also has saved lives.
Right.
Saved my life, you know.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I spent a lot of money. My son was an artist, and spending money on buying those, all those art supplies and the canvases. I said, wait a minute, you know.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't know if you remember too, Ron. We were talking about, because you just brought up about the music. We were talking about having a building, with art on one floor, music on another floor, and technology on the third floor.
Right.
All three of those coming together, and that's so, it's fundamentally what we have now going on with the wall.
Right.
We have Ellis Marcellus Center for Music. They're going to be involved. YAM with Arts New Orleans, and Delgado Community College, the IT department.
Right.
All three working together
Right.
to provide a path for our kids.
Yeah, and here at Xavier, an actual physical place to actually do it. So we are very happy to have them here and to be on a university campus.
Yes.
Where they can see, some other possibilities that are pathways for their lives.
Right.
For some, art is sort of just a pathway to thinking about something bigger, bigger dream. And a good friend of mine, John Scott, who taught here for a number of years at Xavier, would always say, art is not about art, but it's about the rest of the world. And it's about your hopes and your dreams. And so so it may be that this is a beginning for something that's bigger for them.
Yeah, I mean, you never can, I always say, you never can tell who's the next Picasso, who's the next John Scott,
No.
Who's the next B. Mike. You never can tell, but we have to be able to have those opportunities for our kids.
Right.
Because if we don't have those opportunities for our kids, some of the best artwork are in the prisons, in the jails across the country.
That's right.
And it's unfortunate that something has to happen, and then they get discovered.
Yeah.
But again, it's like you said, we got to get to them before they even think about doing something stupid, and
they will.
going on the wrong path.
We're all human.
We're all human, and we all make mistakes, but and that's why it's important too. Even after you've done something, if you can put you on a path and show you a different way, not just throw you away, but show you a different way.
Right.
That's what we have to do with our kids.
Give them some other alternatives to make some better decisions.
Yes.
And that's,
We've got, and Ron mentioned this, you mentioned this earlier, Ron. We have the art, we got the music, we got the Second Lines, we got the Mardi Gras, we got all the festivals. But what we have down the street and around the corner, we got the crime, inadequate education, lack of economic opportunity, and we haven't taken care of business with that.
Right.
And look, I talk to, young people and kids, and they tell me there's nothing for us to do in the city.
Right.
There's nothing for us to do. And so we've got to, as much as we can do, with YAM, Ellis Marcellus, Delgado and Xavier, we've got to present those opportunities to our kids across the city.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do. And look, if you reduce juvenile crime, you reduce adult crime.
Oh, yeah.
It's that simple.
Right.
And so we've got to have those programs, those opportunities for our kids. I always say this. I say, look, with our kids, we need to teach them how to fish. Because if I teach you how to fish, you can eat for life.
Yeah.
But if I give you a fish, you only eat for a day.
Right.
So YAM is about teaching you how to fish. That's what it's all about. What they do at Ellis Marcellus Center with the music, teaching them how to fish.
Right.
Darryl Dickinson, who's a music education director, tells me if you play piano, you'll be able to get a check the rest of your life. If you just play the piano,
Even in church,
So we've got to teach our children how to fish. Now look, every kid's not going to get into art and music or what have you, but you got to have those opportunities, from STEM, from drama, from theater, give them those opportunities, I know when I was playing ball, football starting at 9 years old, I thought I was going to be in the NFL. It didn't happen, But fortunately, I had a plan B, And so that's what we have to do for our kids, put them on that path, give them that plan B, because, Gabby, she started out as a student, one of the first students, and look where she is right now, in the program.
Right. Gabby Tolliver, who is Gabrielle Tolliver, who was one of my students at one time at Xavier, graduated from Xavier, and is an artist, and one of the most dynamic young ladies I've seen in a while, in that she really wants to give, and she really is someone who is very, very active in trying to make people's lives better as well as hers. And I really think that, those are the kinds of people that have come through as some of our first students, and helps with painting that wall at the pool,
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I remember buying snacks and bringing snacks out there to the kids, But, even one of the kids who's in the program right now on the wall, I went to St. Augustine to speak at Career Day. So while I'm speaking, he's drawing, not paying attention. He's drawing. And I say, you know what? I got something for you. So now he's part of the project.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Yeah. And that's what we have to do. We got to give our kids, those opportunities.
Oh yeah.
That's what we have to do. I mean, it's not to say they're going to be an artist, but this is about also putting money in their pockets, and being responsible, and also teaching them the value of work.
Right.
Because this is work what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they come here, every Saturday on the weekends, I think in the evening times as well. So this is work.
Yeah, that's right.
It's work.
We have at least 3 Saints players who make art, visual art. If you think about the Supreme Court Justice, our newest Supreme Court Justice.
Yeah, I saw her. She's an actress. I saw her in the play. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So, I mean, even though it's not something that you primarily do, this is something that fulfills your life.
Right.
And helps you to understand, gives you discipline.
Right.
Gives you a way to communicate in a way that's special for you. And so, I mean, there are pathways. You don't have to make your living from this for it to be special. And so I think, the students get to learn that as well about themselves. It teaches you about you. And I think that's so important. But, I think, too, about the Arts Council, who was one of those organizations that stepped up to the plate when we needed a fiscal agent. Yeah. We needed someone to actually help us manage the program. And they stepped up and helped us with the young people that were involved, and have continued to work with YAM and make it a primary for their program.
Yeah.
So for their programming, and so I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So we had several arts organizations at one point who were contributing some of their students and some of their young people to the cause, and they still do, but they are not the sort of managing the program as it needed a place.
Well, I'm optimistic, Ron, that once the wall is actually seen by people, people want to come on board.
Oh yeah.
They don't want to come on board, and we'll gladly take their resources, so we can, with us, paint the city.
Right.
And we're going to paint the city with our kids.
That's right.
That's what we're going to do. Right. Paint our city with our kids.
And I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud too of the artists who have been part of working with these young people to help them through the projects that they've come up with.
And that's another thing, Ron, is too, we're not just putting money in the kids' pockets. We're also putting money in the artists' pockets too.
That's right. That's right.
And give them the opportunity, to continue and let people see what they can do as well. So now we're not only just helping the kids, but that artists as well.
Exactly. And they're able to give back.
Yes.
They're able to manage to pass on their talents to the next generation.
Right, because that's a requirement. If you're not willing to work with the kids and show the kids, then maybe this is not your project to do.
Right.
So, but we're helping the artists in our community, and again those kids.
Yeah, that's right. Think about John Scott. His son is one of them, Ayo, and so Ayo is very much into passing it on.
Right.
Who was one of the artists in one of the projects.
Yeah, we had Ayo. We also had B. Mike in the project as well.
B. Mike did a project, So we've had some of New Orleans' finest artists contribute to YAM, to the young people in this organization. So it's something that I know it makes you proud, makes me proud as well. It
does. Well, Ron, we came a long way from that Lil Dizzy's 2-hour lunch, where it was just us, and And we're fortunate to have the Apple Corporation to come to New Orleans and to recognize the talent in New Orleans. And so, about a couple of years ago, Apple asked us, because Apple brought together, Ellis Marcellus, they were Arts New Orleans with Yam, Delgado. And so Apple asked, well, what can you guys do together as a group? And I said, look, the wall.
Yeah.
We can do a mural on the wall.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? I said, yeah, let me show you this wall. It's on the jail, the city jail. Thousands of commuters go back and forth, cars go back and forth to see it. And we can have the kids paint a mural on that wall. And I said, well, look, the Super Bowl is coming. Perfect opportunity. And Apple agreed. And of course, they've been here, contributing, to Arts New Orleans with Yam, contributing to Delgado, the IT department, contributing to Ellis Marcellus. And Apple, has a strong relationship here in New Orleans. And, we were fortunate to bring them to the table, to bring Apple to the table. And of course, when you have Apple at the table, that makes a difference.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It makes a difference. And so we're looking forward not just to this project, but future projects with Apple as well.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and I think students will also understand that. I know I get students at Xavier who have an understanding of technology and arts and technology.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm a little long in the tooth now.
Yeah.
So I'm not as familiar with the technology aspects of what can happen in the art world, but all over the technological aspects of what's going on with how do you make digital painting and so on, and they are hungry for it.
Yes.
And
yes.
it's another big pencil that we have.
It is. It's a different pencil. Yeah, it's a different pencil. And all you need is an iPad.
Yeah.
I mean, I was able to get Ellis Marcellus to go into the juvenile jail.
Oh, wow.
And I mentioned earlier, Darryl Dickerson brought an iPad there. So he was teaching the kids how to make beats on the iPad. But Yam is also, in the juvenile jail, in which, we've had those kids paint murals in the juvenile jail. So, we're not only reaching to those kids before, but also those kids already in there right now. And to show them a different path too. Because remember, Ron, we were saying that we wanted to have kids involved in the criminal justice system and kids who are not, and have them come together. And also realize that it doesn't matter what ward you come from, whether you're the Ninth Ward or the Southern Ward. It's not about wards. It's about coming together and knowing that you have something in common.
That's right.
Because what's going on now is a lot of violence is from beefs, and with those beefs, access to guns, and that's what we have right now. And so we can bring kids from all over the city, from different parts, different backgrounds, working together on a project. That will, that's conflict resolution. And hopefully have that spread to, doing art, music, technology across the city with our kids.
Oh yeah. I think the public can support YAM. This young artist movement is by just that. It's a young artist movement. How do you help our youth bring them to this? Bring them to come and see what's going on here. Bring them from the schools. Bring the schools here to see what's going on, so that they can encourage the youth to see this. And to understand, how significant it is. And to talk about one of the things that they learn here, too, in this process is conflict resolution. Is how do you work with people? Is how do you work with each other toward a greater goal? And so have people come, young people come, their parents come, and to understand that, this is something that's viable for everybody. And that, I would love to see one where parents make a mural.
Hey, look, you never can tell with a parent. Parents can draw too. Some parents can draw as well.
Right. So why not? And they come together around a project rather than to pull each other apart.
Yeah, that's it. And look, the business community can step up also. And especially if you own a building that's a stucco building and you're tired of the street art.
Right.
Or what you may call graffiti.
Yeah.
Give them a call.
Right.
They will come out there with the kids and put a mural in your building. And once you do that, street artists normally don't touch it.
Right.
Because they have this street ethic.
Right.
If there's a mural there, we're not gonna touch it.
Right.
And so if we can have more art across the city, with our business, people own buildings, and having those murals there, it will decrease the graffiti. It would give more opportunities for our kids. And it would make the city look better.
Right. Make a more beautiful city.
Yeah.
Right. And a city that's more conscious of itself.
Yes.
That we will all be able to come together around the ideas of these young people, but also too the culture. We are making a part of the culture that's visual.
Yeah.
And that's I think so important to what we have.
Ron, look, we came a long way.
We sure have. Austin.
We're not finished.
No.
And it's good that we're here in your house here at Xavier in the art department, talking about the wall, what we're going to do. We're not finished. We're going to keep on keeping on. And I know you're going to be part of it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to, as much as I can, be part of it as well.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make people know about Yam.
Yes.
Not just in New Orleans,
Right.
but across the state, across the country.
Yeah. And even, if there are other artists out there who want to make some competition for Yam, we welcome that too.
Yeah.
Just like St. Aug and Brother Martin. We welcome that.
Oh yeah.
Because you see how well it works together.
It works together. You got a Crusade and the Purple Night working together.
That's
Who thought?
right.
Who would ever thought?
That's right.
Lagniappe means a little something extra, and that's exactly what we aim to bring you. Insightful conversations, untold histories, and a deeper look at the passion and perseverance driving New Orleans forward. Join us as we celebrate the artists and educators, activists, and visionaries who shape the soul of our city, one story at a time. This is Lagniappe Stories.